An introduction. World is moving rapidly toward perfection. This calls for implementing the perfect practices at every inch of our lives. The most part of our lives are consumed by our practices at our workplaces. We live about 2/3 of our lives dealing and working for an employers and employees. In the recent years, technological advancement have seen new horizons and have impacted the every corner of our routines. Our workplaces are not an exception. A most recent episode of technological advancement at our workplace is the introduction of BYOD policy. A unique blend of observations are surfaced when we try to know about the utility of this policy. This confusion, at its understanding of importance, calls for a deep insight and proper investigation of this policy, which has been done quite that qualitatively by our teamwork. Goal statement and objective. Our goal was to understand the true reasons behind the implementation of this policy and the effectiveness of its being introduced at many places. To reach our goal, we set for ourselves some systematic progression that allowed us to reach our goal in a gradual manner. The basic objective behind this attempt was to see this policy of BYOD really bearing fruits for its hosts, and how much the employers and employees are satisfied under the umbrella of this code of doing business. Another facet of our objective was to unearth any issue arising due to this policy, or find the traces of any lacuna that calls for the implementation of this policy. Research method, scope, limitations. We relied heavily on primary and secondary research methods. We done many questionnaires and managed to hold few closed interviews that helped us understand, which could never had been possible to know through only secondary research methods. Our scope of research was quite comprehensive, and for that purpose our research methodology focused on understanding the BYOD, its impact on companies, the issues due to its implementation, the gray areas at this policy, and the recommendations for bringing improvement at this concept. We abstained ourselves from countries and areas where economic or technological deprivation could not allow for the implementation of this policy. We also restricted ourselves from immature companies or those juveniles who were yet to progress a bit before they could be studied for any policy understanding. Main findings. Main finding of our research is that we yet need to wait more to grasp fully the impact and usability of this policy at workplaces. People have yet not come on consensus about the usage of this policy at workplaces. Unless many more companies don't start trying this policy, we may have to wait long before we could establish a conclusive opinion about the importance and relevance of this policy at bringing convenience and perfection at workplaces. It is hard to generalize the results and opinion deduced from a handful of the companies. Data security, good practices and budgetary issues may hamper the speed of the implementation of this policy at all world around. Recommendations and the method for their implementation. We recommended that a budgetary support should be extended by employers to shoulder the data expense of employees. We also believe that some restrictions should be installed for data access in order to secure what should not come handy for the employees. BYOD policy need to be understood more for its utility and usability. Employers should extend financial support to the employees happily, as this saves them from all the expenses that they add to foot when employees use office equipment for office works. Reflection on the project. This research work helped us know quite more than what we had planned for. We got a chance to peep into the working environments and the conditions penetrated at many developed and developing companies. We also came to realize the complexity of the modern-day business methods and working taboos. However, it never proved to be an easy task to know and understand the working cultures at many companies. Many companies were not even ready to share their working experience with or without this policy. We had to get round to them to crack their professional shells and know the truth. Many times we were misled just not to get what is actually going on at the companies. However, our persistent efforts and commitment helped us achieve our targets and know what we had aimed for.